it right.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gene. You guys are watching Primed and Lubed for October the 27th, 2024. This is episode 4 of season 4. Yeah, an interesting week for the Edmonton Oilers as they managed to have a pretty good week. I wouldn't complain about it. They kind of had a heartbreaking game against the Canes. But other than that, it was a decent week. I thought it was okay. I want to kind of give a apology to Renegade Man and to Sidney Crosby and and Malkin. As last week, I meant to congratulate those fine folks for Renegade Man for some amazing comments that he made on the last portion of the episode. Just spot on comments, and I end up inadvertently hitting the boo button. Which was not meant to be the case. I actually marked my buttons now because I got a lot of buttons. I got a lot going on here, from lighting to soundboards to that. And I'm like I say, I'm still a one-man crew producing this. But Renegade Man, here is the deserving yay for your comments. And I do sincerely apologize. When I saw that, I had my moment. I'm like, I wish I could make flawless episodes, but I usually have a hiccup here and there. Speaking of which, I may have some issues with some of my screens here. As you know, I use black screen, and my lighting has been a bit of an issue today, so I may have to do on-the-fly adjustments throughout this episode. Anyway, we got a lot to get into as we're going to dive into the Oilers and Canes. We're going to go around the league, and I broke down the Pens and Oiler game into 3 segments. And you're going to wonder why, but the reason why is there's 3 storylines to this game. There was obviously a hockey game, but there was also the pre-game praise between Sid and Connor. And then, of course, at the end, just an absolute touching moment where Randy Gregg and Craig MacTavish were saluted in the Edmonton Oiler honor and are now honorary members of the organization as they were inducted into the Edmonton Oiler Hall of Fame Friday night. We're going to look at the recent Pacific standings, up-to-date standings. We're also going to do the reflection piece on Craig MacTavish, who was inducted. Another poll question, part 2 of the Oilers Pens, upcoming games, as there's going to be 3 games this week, one of which is starting in about 3 hours, I believe. It's the Oilers and Red Wings. And then tomorrow night they're in Columbus. And then on Halloween they will play the Nashville Predators. And then again, Oilers and Pens part 3, which is going to basically, it's going to be just my little talk on the actual ceremony that they did for Craig and for Randy. And then some final thoughts if you guys want to chime in. Renegade Man, I hope you're willing to chime in again. I did not mean to boo you, but let's get into this. So we're going to start off with the Oilers and Canes game that happened earlier this week. This was one of those ones that, unfortunately, really, I think the Oilers deserved to take this one, as it was actually a hard pill to swallow watching the Oilers lose this game because they played really well. Skinner played extremely well. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on this game. So, Nurse was switched to the right side. For whatever reason, Knobloch says, let's try it. Let's try to put Nurse on the right-hand side. They did so. And it would prove to be what I think could very well work out. McDavid would double ping the post and the crossbar to open the scoring with a beauty snipe, and it was his first of 2. And I'm talking like the velocity on this shot was like, I don't think I've seen a wrist shot zip that, well, maybe an Austin Matthews one, but that had pepper on it. Skinner, absolutely tunnel vision focus as he stands on his head through 2. Brindamore would get very animated on the bench with calls that didn't go his way. And when I mean animated, I mean he was like literally saying like you're blind, open your eyes kind of thing, animations to some of the referees. So it's kind of funny watching him just go off. The power play still needs some work because they were 1 for 3, which is kind of a sign. And here in BC, we have a grading system for the kids now, which is really got parents in an uproar. And 99% of all parents are hating it because it's no longer a C, D, and failing students because they're not good. It's kind of like, well, if they're not doing good, they're calling it emerging. So I'm going to say this is emerging, but it actually legitimately is emerging because they are improving. I could see it starting to come along. Skinner's 30 saves of 33 with a 909 save percentage doesn't really tell the story. It's just a 909, but my God, man, the saves he was making were grade A saves, and he was just focused. McDavid rises to the occasion with 2 goals. And I kind of got a little mixed up there, but the doesn't tell the story. He stood on his head actually belongs to the Stuart Skinner. Somehow it popped out of place there when I was typing it. Okay. Very animated. I think I got that twice. Oilers deserved a much better fate. An absolutely heartbreaker game versus the Canes. I felt so bad for them, and I'm starting to really feel bad for Zach Hyman too, because he's just doing everything possible to try to get a point. And it's starting to get to a point. It's starting to sadden me, see, because he is putting in the effort. I had this discussion with my good buddy in Edmonton, Steve, yesterday about it. He's doing everything he can, and it's just not working. So hopefully today he breaks it and gets the monkey off the back against Detroit. So for the game grade, I scored it fairly high, but because the power play was only 1 for 3, it actually went a little bit lower than I initially had. I'm going to give them a B+. It was a good effort of a game. I'm not going to complain at all. Heartbreaking. They deserved better. They deserved a better fate. They were really, really good. And this would be one of 2 games. Well, there was only 2 games this week. One of 2 games where the goaltender absolutely stood on their head. And in the Pittsburgh Penguin game, Lundqvist, I believe his name is, absolutely stood on his head. So, yeah, a good outing for the Edmonton Oilers. I'm not complaining. I think they had a very good week as the week went on. So going into around the league, a few things came to surface for news, and I'm just going to quickly go over it. Again, I do apologize for the pixelation on it. I'm going to try to make a quick adjustment here because, let's see, oops. See, I can't even adjust it. I got a little bit of crappy lighting in the studio today, so I got a little bit of pixelation, as you can tell. I do use green screen, so I do apologize for that. But anyway, Rangers sign Alex Lafreniere to a 7-year contract extension. The Penguins send Tristan Jarry back to Pittsburgh for extra work. He's having a tough go this year. Ex-Blackhawk star, Hall of Famer executive Bill Hay dies at the age of 88. Rempe has a slow start for the Rangers, and he's one of the fan favorites in New York because he likes to drop the mitts, and he's got heavy mitts. Has been sent to AHL Hartford. Islanders agreed to a 1-year deal with forward Matt Martin, and the terms of that deal, in true I can't remember the GM of Islanders, but he's known for like keeping things a secret. But yeah, in true fashion of him, there's no release to the terms of the contract. And Jeff Wink sells a stake of the Lightning, but will retain control. So just some of the news stories going on around the league. And now we're going to go into the part one segment of Oilers and Pings. And what this part one was basically the admiration that both Connor and Sid have for each other as they were about to face off against each other in another matchup of Sid versus Connor. Lots and lots and lots of praise. Let's take a look at it.
Connor, Sidney Crosby's 37, still playing at a really high level. You've been in the NHL now for a good amount of years as well. Can you kind of appreciate what he's been able to do at this age, being, kind of a veteran player as well yourself?
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't seemed to change, hasn't changed at all. Just has great year after great year. It's so impressive to see someone that obviously I grew up, admiring and still do to this day.
As he gets kind of the tail end of his career here, do these games kind of mean a bit more, knowing that this could be the last one, the next one could be it's going to end eventually?
Doesn't seem like he's got any sign of slowing down, but it's always special to go up against Sid and Malkin and Letang and all the guys over there that have been part of so many great teams.
They have a lot of leaders on that team. Does it matter who wears the C?
Should be Sid for sure. That's not even a question.
I think Connor and Leon are pretty tough to play against for anybody, but especially with their speed and just one little mistake being on the wrong side of the puck and it feels like it ends up in your net. They're just that dangerous. So test your discipline, test your structure, and just your level of compete. You got to find ways to hold on to pucks and not give them those opportunities.
Connor says you should automatically be the captain of the Four Nations team. What do you think? So it's a no-brainer for him. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that being a little bit more experienced, maybe he's giving me that. But he's obviously a great leader, and he's done so much for the team here and for Canada as well. So I think anytime you're looked to wear a letter, whether it's a C or an A, or be a part of Team Canada, it's a great honor regardless. But I appreciate that.
So awesome to see two extremely amazing athletes in the game of hockey just appreciate each other's talents for what they are, and speak high words of each other, and considering that they're about to clash against each other in a very physical hockey game. It's really neat to see that side of hockey, because when we watch the game and what we see on ice, we see a lot of chirping and a lot of ill will for the most part. Let's take a look at the current up-to-date standings in the Pacific Division as Oilers are slowly trying to creep back into it. Vegas Golden Knights currently have 13 points with 6 wins, 2 losses, 2 overtime losses, followed by the LA Kings with a 5-2-2 record. Calgary with a 5-2-1 record at 11 points. Vancouver with a 4-1-2 record with 10 points. Seattle with 4-4-1. Anaheim with 3-3-1 with 7 points. Edmonton with a 3-4-1. And I didn't quite get San Jose into the frame. Let's see if I could shove it up there a little bit. There we go. There's San Jose. You can almost this early. And this team doesn't really have the zip that, like, they don't have the McDavid, they don't have the Draisaitl's, they don't have the Hymans to kind of get themselves out of it. I'm already counting San Jose out of the playoff picture. I know it's that early. But I like 0-7-2. Only they haven't won a game yet this year. They haven't won a single game. They got 2 overtime losses for their only 2 points. And yeah, not a very good deal. So I'm going to say right now, San Jose not making the playoffs. Where are we going next? Now we are heading into my piece on Craig MacT, an amazing guy, well-deserved Hockey Hall of Famer, and I even said it in the piece. I think he should have been a a Hockey Hall of Famer on the first year just because he's had so many roles. So let's dive into that piece right now. For my fourth installment of Reflections, I'm going to go to a man who was honored Friday night along with Randy Gregg. Now, this is a man that, if you ask me, should have probably got honored a couple years back, considering this man has held pretty much every position you can think of in the Edmonton Oilers organization. I'm talking about Craig MacTavish, assistant coach, general manager, and even vice president of hockey ops. He's pretty much done it all. Oh, I guess I should also add, he was a player, and he was also a player that was last known to be a helmetless player, the last ever hockey player to go without wearing a lid. So there's a lot of stuff to think about when you think about Craig MacTavish. Let's get into it. Let's get into his career. Craig MacTavish, born August 15th, 1958, is a Canadian professional ice hockey executive and former player. Formerly an assistant coaching position with the St. Louis Blues, he played center for 17 seasons in the National Hockey League with the Boston Bruins, Edmonton Oilers, New York Rangers, Philadelphia Flyers, and the St. Louis Blues. He won the Stanley Cup 4 times, in 1987, 88, 90, and 94. 3 of those, of course, were with the Edmonton Oilers. The 94 Cup was with the Rangers. He was the last player known to play without a helmet. MacTavish missed the 84-85 season after being convicted of vehicular homicide, having struck and killed a young woman while he was driving under the influence of alcohol. MacTavish pleaded guilty to vehicular homicide and driving under the influence of alcohol the night of January 25th, 1984 in Peabody, Massachusetts. Kim Radley, 26, of West Newfield, Maine, died 4 days later of injuries sustained in the crash. MacTavish was sentenced to a year's imprisonment for the offense, and during his time, he watched as many games as he possibly could that were televised. Widely viewed at the time as a personal favor from Edmonton Oilers coach Glenn Sather to his best friend, then general manager of the Boston Bruins, Harry Sinden, who felt that MacTavish ought to have a fresh start from Boston, he offered him out of his contract, which MacTavish accepted. The Oilers took a chance on MacTavish and signed him for the 85-86 season. Sather's intuition turned out to be good, as MacTavish spent 8 full seasons with the Oilers, helping them win 3 Stanley Cups, 87, 88, 90, and serving as team captain from 92 to 94. MacTavish was traded to the Rangers in 94, just in time to help several other former Oilers, including Kevin Lowe, Glenn Anderson, Adam Graves, Jeff Bukaboom, Esa Tikkanen, and Mark Messier, win the Stanley Cup. MacTavish later coached the Oilers from 2000 to 2009 and later served as assistant coach with the Rangers and the Oilers. He last coached Team Canada at the 2019 Spandler Cup after a short stint in the Russian team Lokomotiv Yaroslavl of the KHL. He served as an assistant coach with the St. Louis Blues from 22 to 23. MacTavish would record 480 career points, 331 of which were in the orange and blue colors of Edmonton, with 155 goals and 176 assists in 701 games. However, one of his most memorable moments took place on January 20th, 2003, while coaching the Oilers in the Battle of Alberta game, where he tore the tongue out of Flames' mascot, Harvey the Hound. MacTavish led the Oilers on their run to the Stanley Cup Finals. In the first round of the playoffs, MacTavish shocked the hockey world by utilizing a trapping defense style to neutralize a potent Detroit Red Wings offense. The Oilers were able to deny scoring chances by blocking shots with their bodies, something that Craig McTavish was known for during his playing career. This proved to be effective. The 8th-seeded Oilers won the opening round in 6 games against the number 1 seed Detroit Red Wings for their first postseason victory since 1998. Along the way, the Oilers defeated the San Jose Sharks in 6 games and the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim in 5 games to advance to their first Stanley Cup final championship season since 1990. However, the Oilers could not complete the run, losing a thrilling 7-game final series to the Carolina Hurricanes after rallying from a 3-1 series deficit to force Game 7. As it would turn out, this was the only season in McTavish's tenure where the Oilers won a postseason series. On November 4th, 2006, one day after the Oilers lost to the Dallas Stars due to an apparent blow-in call in the last 5 minutes of the third period by referee Mick McGowan, McTavish was fined $10,000 for expressing his anger after the game, referring to the calls as retarded. After the incident, Oiler fans collected over $10,000 and gave it to McTavish, who subsequently donated the money to charity. On April 15th, 2009, Oiler General Manager Steve Tambellini announced that Craig McTavish had been relieved from his duties as head coach of the club. The Oilers had failed to reach the playoffs for the 3rd year in a row. He finished his tenure with the Oilers at 36 on the all-time NHL list with 301 wins and second to the Oilers' all-time win list, only behind Glenn Sather. During the 2011-2012 season, Craig McTavish coached the Chicago Wolves in the American Hockey League, affiliated to the Vancouver Canucks. After the season, McTavish left the Canucks organization, returned to the Oilers as Senior Vice President of Hockey Ops, and was named General Manager on April 15th, 2013. On July 1st, 2022, McTavish was hired by the St. Louis Blues as an assistant coach for the 22-23 season, after the Boston Bruins acquired Jim Montgomery as their head coach. In April of 23, the Blues announced that McTavish, along with fellow assistant coach Mike Van Ryn, would not return for the next season. On Friday night, the Edmonton Oilers honored him and Dr. Randy Gregg into the Edmonton Oilers Hockey Hall of Fame. So there you have it, guys. An absolute legend, a boy on the bus, a guy that really bleeds orange and blue. Thank you, Craig, for everything you've done. Your inductee was way too late, in my opinion. You should have been up there in the first year that they put it. But regardless, better late than never. Congratulations. Yeah, definitely a big salute to Craig McTavish. He is the epitome of an Edmonton Oiler. He is the full deal, 100%. So, yeah. So, we're going to go into the poll question, and it kind of deals with 2 defensemen that were playing in the Oilers and Pens game. That one being Darnell Nurse, and the other being Erik Karlsson. And there's a lot of, I'm just going to say it, a lot of bitching from the fan bases of both teams about how much they have to pay both these guys. So I thought I would bring up this question. And it's now on my YouTube community page. You can scan that QR code to get directly there to do the vote. But the question is, who would you rather have as a defenseman? Would you rather have Erik Karlsson's cap hit of $11.5 million till the end of the season? I goofed there. Till the end of 26-27 season, or Darnell Nurse's contract of a cap hit of $9.5 till the end of 29-30? Now, Darnell has been looking pretty good this year. Bouchard, and And one of the things I was talking with my good buddy Steve in Edmonton is, why can't we have it for 1 year where both those guys are just are factors? Last year, Darnell wasn't so much. Bouchard was. This year, Bouchard's not, but it's still early, and Darnell is. So, yeah, chime in, guys. Place your vote. Be glad to hear from you on that. We're going to get into, is it part 2 now? Of the Oilers and Pens. Okay, so now we're actually going to get into the game, and I'm going to give you a game grade of what I thought of this game. Absolutely amazing game between the two, and let's do it. Yeah, this was a good game, and I'm going to try to fix those pixeling because it's really, really bad on this one. Again, I apologize for these on-the-fly adjustments I have to make, but there is some pixeling with my blue screen. It looks kind of awful. I got very poor lighting right now. I had it set, and then I did something and I changed it, so I do apologize for the pixelation. I am working on getting better lighting so it doesn't do it. But anyway, going forward, Oilers and Penguins, October 25th, Rogers Place. Great game. And my game notes is the Oilers absolutely schooled the Penguins in this game, outshooting them 29-6, 33 minutes into the game. So over halfway, they were outshooting them basically 4-1. That would be. What is that? 6, 12, 18? No, almost 5-1. Almost 5-1 they were outshooting them, which is a crazy number. Like, these are two NHL teams. These are NHL teams. They're not kids. So that was really an interesting storyline. And that's why I asked that question. Would you rather have Carlson or Nurse? Because Carlson was playing awful. Really awful. And even Sid, I'm going to be honest with you. I know McDavid said in his interview that Sid isn't slowing down. I'll tell you what, Sid is slowing down. He was basically a non-factor in this game. However, the Oilers would face a never die tender in Joel Blomqvist. Wow. Like, yeah, if he keeps playing like this, Tristan Jarry is going to find it very hard to make it back into the lineup for the Pens once he starts playing a little bit better. Finally, at 8:58 of the second period, Leo would breach the dam, fracture Blomqvist's mental state, and it would lead to the first of 4 goals en route to a 4-0 decisive victory and shutout for Stewie. Once again, Oilers PP was 1 for 3, which, again, at least they got 1 out of 3, but I would like to see it better. 3 for 3 on the PK, so that is starting to definitely come around. Stewie stops all 27 shots sent his way for his first shutout of the season. My game grade, guys, I have to do it, guys. I have to do it. I have to give them the A. Hit the right button this time. Yes. Yeah, great effort, guys. Great effort. Great game. I think they're starting to come around now, which is awesome to know. Where are we headed now? We did that. Let's take a look at the upcoming games, as there is going to be 3 this week. And then next Sunday, Battle of Alberta Part 2 for the season, as they take on the Flames next Sunday night. I will report on that game coming up on next week's episode. I will give you the statistical breakdown of both teams. Okay, let's get into upcoming games. All right. Okay, see if I can fix that a little bit. Again, I apologize for this. There we go. Some of the work is not in frame and stuff, but yeah, it's a work in progress. I'm always trying to perfect my channel and get better and better, so bear with me, guys. Okay, so the Oilers will take on Detroit I think that's at 3 o'clock my time, so 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock for you guys in Edmonton. Now I'm finally on this episode is the first episode where I'm giving you the current state of the teams that they are playing against in this year's season. So right now Detroit is tied for 23rd for goals, averaging 2.88. The Oilers are at 31st at 2.25. That's shocking. I know. That's really shocking. Shots on goal, the Oilers are 3rd in the league. Red Wings are 32nd, last in the league. Power play, the Oilers are 27th. So you can see that they are getting a little bit better. Last week they were 30th in the league. The Red Wings are 17th with a 19.2. Face-off percentage, Oilers are 1st in the league on the dot. And that's because you got Leo, you got Henrique, you got some pretty good face-off talent as they're winning 56.9% of the draws. Shooting percentage, the Oilers are 32nd in the league, not finding the twine. And I guarantee a lot of these are Zach Hyman's, and I feel bad for him. But I think eventually the floodgates have got to open on this. The Red Wings are 12th in the league. Goals allowed, Detroit's right in the middle of the pack, 16th in the league. Oilers are 20th in the league. Shots on goal allowed, Oilers are actually pretty stingy on defense, as they are 4th in the league, averaging only 26.3 shots per game, but those shots are finding their way, in the early portion of the season, finding their way past Stewie and Calvin. Penalty minutes, Oilers are right in the middle of the pack, and Detroit's pretty much in the middle of the pack, 15 and 18 respectively. Penalty kill, again, the Oilers penalty kill, 32nd, dead last in the league, and Detroit's 31st. So they're side by side on that one. The record for both teams, Oilers come into this game with a 4-3-1 record. Meanwhile, the Wings will come in with a 4-4-0 record. At home, away record for the Oilers is 1-1. Detroit is 2-2. The last 10, 3-4-1 for the Oilers, 4-4-0 for the Wings. And as far as the streaks go, Oilers have 1 win, the Wings have 1 loss. Calvin Pickard will be getting the start because it is a back-to-back, as they will take on Columbus tomorrow, where Stewie will get the pipes at that point in time. Calvin Pickard, 852 save percentage so far this season with a 329 goals against average, a 1-1 record. Cam Talbot, former Edmonton Oiler Cam Talbot, will be behind the pipes for the Wings with a 913 save percentage, 1 shutout. So he's actually having a pretty good year so far. We're going to move on now to the Columbus Blue Jackets. And I might add, with the Detroit Red Wings, the last time they played each other, Edmonton beat them on February 13th, 2024 by a count of 8-4. So this could have, there could be a lot of scoring in this game. As far as the Blue Jackets go, Blue Jackets are 5th in the league for goals, averaging 3.86. Shots on goal, 29.9. Power play percentage, 25th in the league at 15%. Face-off percentage, 12th in the league at 50.6. Shooting percentage, 5th in the league at 12.9. So they got a pretty good shooting percentage, much better than the Oilers. So they're finding ways to get into the twine. When it comes to the goals allowed, Columbus is 21st, Oilers are 20th, so they're neck and neck there. Oilers are currently 4th in the league for shots on goal allowed with a stingy 26.3 to Columbus is 11th in the league at 28.1. Penalty minutes, the Oilers are middle of the pack with 15. The Blue Jackets are actually pretty disciplined, as they tend to stay out of the box at 6.9 minutes per game. 6.9 minutes per game. The penalty kill percentage, the Jackets are 13th in the league at 80%. Last time they played, it was a 4-2 decision for Columbus on March 7th, 2024. Currently, the record for Columbus is 3-3-1. Their away record 2-2-0, and their last 10 3-3-1. And they are in a losing streak. Daniel Tarasov is going to start for the Jackets. He has a record of 3-1-1. He's pretty much run the show since they came into since the start of the season. 3.42 goals against, a .886 save percentage. And this should be a good one. It will be at Nationwide Arena in Columbus, where they had the ceremonies for Johnny Gaudreau earlier this year. Let's get into the Nashville Predators. This will be the second meeting between the two teams as they go on. I gotta switch that graphic out. So yeah, Nashville will come in. I think Nashville's going to play the Oilers a lot tougher in this game, considering the Oilers beat them October 17th by a count of 4-2. I definitely was expecting a much different outcome in that game, considering Stamkos, Marcia show, but that team is just not finding their way, and it's kind of surprising. As Nashville is 27th in the league with goals at 2.63, which you thought that would go right up by acquiring those two guys. First in the league on shots on goal, so they're getting the shots. The power play percentage is 20th in the league at 17.2, third in the league for faceoffs at 56.6. So this should be an interesting one for the Oilers as it's a first and it's a third going against each other when they meet each other on Halloween. The shooting percentage, they are 31st in the league at 7.3, which you'd like to say, well, that looks good for the Oilers, but however, the Oilers are 32nd in the league. Okay, goals allowed. They are 24th in the league, averaging 3.4, 13th in the league for shots on goal at 28.4. Penalty minutes, 17th in the league at 9.1, and penalty kill, second in the league at 92.3. UC Saros will probably get it appears to be getting the start. He has a shutout already this year. 2.74 goals against, 908 save percentage, so he's definitely one of the so-called stars that is actually being a star on that team right now. As far as the record for Nashville, 3-5-0, a very slow start out of the gate for them. Their home record 2-4, and then 3-5 away. They're on a current win streak of 3, so maybe they are starting to turn things around. That will be at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. And that is a wrap for our upcoming games for this week, as there will be 3 between now and Saturday. And we move on to... where are we headed now? We are going to head into part 3 of the Oiler and Pens. And really, it's not really a part, but, well, it is a part because it was all part of the evening. But the Edmonton Oilers really know how to do things right when it comes to honoring, respecting, and paying tribute to former players. I love the fact that the Oilers give these guys, these Blue Jackets, with this inscripted or Edmonton Oiler Hall of Fame stitching that's inside I believe it's the right lapel on the suit. It's a real fancy gesture, considering in golf you get you win, what is it? Can't think of it right now, but you get the green jacket in golf, and it's just a prestige thing. It's one of those things where you have your bourbon and your cigar, and you're sitting in the lounge with the boys, and talking, just like what we depictimize the rich usually doing. when they were sitting on the Titanic or wherever, whatever. I'm getting way out of contents here. But yeah, it is a nice gesture what they've done. Craig McTavish, again, I'm going to say it. He should have been honored, I would say, probably in the first year that they did it. I think that was Ryan Smith, Lee Fogland. And not to knock anything from Ryan Smith and Lee Fogland, but again, Craig McTavish has done every single role in the Edmonton Oilers organization, and he deserves high praise. They both deserve high praise. Randy Gregg, how a guy was able to focus on a professional hockey career and get his doctorate degree is mind-blowing. I find it hard enough for me to run a channel, take care of my mother and work a job. For what he did, that's insane. So again, a big shout out to these guys. Congratulations. Well deserved. All right, guys, I think now we're going to move into final thoughts, wrap this up. I got to go get some beer here right away and maybe some snacks for the hockey game, as the Oilers will be taking on the Pens fairly shortly, maybe getting a few games of NHL 25. By the way, guys, I do play NHL 25. You can look for my name. It's Raging Rabbits, or Raging Raccoons. Sorry, Raging Raccoons. I got that name because I live in BC, and one day I went to go take out the garbage early in the morning because I get up very early for work, and there was about 7 of them aligned against the fence line. I was like, okay, I'll put my garbage back a little bit later. That's another story for another day. But yeah, you can look for me on the interwebs there, or on the PlayStation Network. Again, it's Raging Raccoons. I use the PS5 platform, so I'd love to play against you guys if I ever can. I don't use the Oilers logo, not right now, or the Oilers jersey. I use, the Swamp Rabbits of the ECHL, so that's my team. But anyway, again, I'm getting way far off of track here. Let's get into the final thoughts. If there's any comments or questions, it doesn't appear to be today. We're going to wrap this up pretty good. Again, I got pixelation problems here, so I do apologize that. I'm going to try to fix my chroma key settings just a slight bit here. Oh, I hate when there's my green screen, so yeah. Yeah, it's hard to, you need really perfect lighting when you're doing green screen technology. It's something that I'm still learning to do with, and hopefully I'll get better at it. But yeah, this was a pretty good episode, I think. And again, a huge apology to Renegade Man. I totally agreed with your comments last week. I didn't boo. The booing was I mishit the button. So I actually have now an audio sound coming out, so I can actually hear what is coming out. Before last week, I couldn't even hear it coming out. So that's why I didn't even respond with a error or whatever. And then I was thinking of editing it out of the YouTube clip, but I think it would just cause too much of a problem. So again, Renegade Man, you deserve a huge... because you are the one guy that always seems to comment, and your comments are usually spot on. I don't agree with you on everything, but last week you nailed it. I guess that's it for me, guys. I'm going to wrap her up. We will see you next week for another episode. Hopefully I'll get this lighting a little bit better and fixed. Let's go Oilers, man. Let's have a good week here. Let's go as they're starting their next segment, 8-game segment, what Knobloch likes to do. Let's hope we get 8-0 on this segment. Have a good evening, guys. Enjoy the Oiler game. Stay safe, and we'll talk soon.